Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lights Out Luke Racing, Season 26, Race 3, and we're at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, as it's most commonly known. And after missing a week last week, we are back with some fantastic action. And for this one, it's something a little bit different. If those that are following us last season, we tried out a special race where it was a dry race and drivers had to use all three dry tyre compounds. We'll go for it again. Drivers loved it. I loved it. So we're doing it. And so normal play resumes with a short quali. 50% race, but in the race they have to use the soft, mediums and hard. Which does mean it is a dry race. We're a little bit overcast though. So it should be a little bit better on the tyres themselves. But this race is all about strategy. I can't call what's the best one, to be honest. Excuse me. I'd probably start on the softs and get underway and then do a hards to mediums maybe for me, but it's down to the drivers. I'd probably, if I was that car that was in behind, drop back a little bit as we get underway with the first hot lap of the qualified session, and we are on with Callum Ansell as he goes down the start finish straight, 1.1 kilometres DRS open, all the way down Rettifilo Tribune on one of the hard braking zones. First one down to turn 1 at the chicane, the Variante di Rettifilo, as we want a good exit off turn 2 round curve Grande. You may see one or two overtaking opportunities. It is a track that you can see plenty of overtakes. It's only one of the highest tracks on the calendar for overtakes, as he cuts the curve on turns 4 and 5, round the first Lesnar and round the second one, and you want to cut the inside corner again, as much speed as possible to open up the DRS. Let's go, Noodle, let's go. And again, we'll see some late overtakes going down to the Star Chicane, one of the most traditional and well-known set of corners on the calendar. Navigates that really, really well. Uses a little bit of slipstream from the car in front. He needs to get out of the way. I think it should start in its first hot lap, and that's gone really well for Callum, using the Ferrari's slipstream ahead. As he navigates round Parabolica, opens the rest, a 1:19.1. Catanese slots in with a 20.0. Predicting mid 1:18s essentially as the fastest time. Noodles 1:24. So you'll have a little bit more time to find, and all these times will be dropping. Caps lock in the second Williams with a 25, just a tenth behind. As the cars are breaking out, and there's that absolute terrible updated smoke, and no one wants to see that, and Caps gets as well to get out of the way. We don't want any impedes, and so I'm missing one or two drivers, but we do have one or two which are filling in for us this week. We've got Blobby Butler, with the 1:22.2 on his first flying lap, and gets well out of the way. In the Red Bull, filling in for Matty Suddens. We've got Davidson as well today for DPH, who might be a full-time Mercedes driver. They're 21.7. Keys are dropping in with 20.6. Terry's going really well. Currently divisional P2, a 1:19.4. Qualified really well last week and just had one or two little incidents where just dropped him down the grid a bit and a couple of penalties, but showing great pace ahead of Armadi, last week's winner. Quite comfortable in the end for him. It wasn't all his own race, battling with Callum and with Adam, but all fell away. Marty coming in a provisional P4 on the mediums with a 19.9, so good early pace from him. Adamako P6, 1:21, current championship winner, holder of the medals. And it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. He didn't qualify that well last week, but got himself on the podium again, P2. And is looking strong at the start of the season. Noodles coming in with 24 in the pits. Briddy in the lead Alpine at the moment on a 20.4. His teammate currently on a hot lap has invalidated. He's going to have to jump into the pits. Chessball, another debutant with us in the second Ferrari. Be interesting to see what pace he can do. Currently at a 20.8. So a lot of drivers, I think, just setting themselves a little banker lap. And the Portuguese beast is invalidated as well, so he's going to have to jump in the pits or go again. As we'll stick with Cygate. He's coming around the Lesmos. And you don't really want to brake here. You want to try and let off and trail brake round the corner and take as much speed through as you open up the DRS. Otherwise you will be under threat from the cars behind. Very old track, this one. Constructed in just 110 days in 1922. Was one of about 5 tracks, I think it was 5 or 8 tracks that featured in the maiden F1 Championship in 1950. And is featured on the calendar. I think there's just one race where it wasn't the Italian Grand Prix where Imola took that crown. Cygate comes in provisional P12 with a 20.8. In the 1980s, I think 1985 or something daft. So it's the world's third. Second one telling me here has validated, giving his teammate a slipstream by the looks of it. As Briddy has gone round again. He's about a 10th and a half up on his previous time, which can get him up to P7. And hasn't improved. Lost time on the Parabolica. Giving a bit of slipstream to his teammate again, who is right on the gearbox. I think that's caps lock or Catamese. No, it's caps lock and that is with Catamese ahead, which may hamper Thelemy later on in the hot lap as we'll get too close. See how Catamese is getting on. Thelemy still yet to start a time. Dan and Portuguese just assessing the situation. So Thelemy pushing the limits just behind Cat. Using that slipstream. Has had a really strong start to the season. Currently leading the championship. Only by a few points though. Not running away. Ended up getting quite a very dominant weekend at Spa, and then got himself P3 with an alternate strategy call last race. And see how Catamese gets on. Penalty jumps in the pit, so he must have invalidated again. And Catamese gets himself up to provisional P4 with a 19.6. I'll be chuffed with that. And Noodles is doing 1.2 seconds down, having a run out on medium, so probably saying himself those fresh softs, and that's what the drivers will have to do. They have to use a set of softs, so you're going to want to save a fresh one. You don't want to use all 3 sets during qualifying. Very wise. And we might only see some drivers doing 2 runs. So keep an eye on Adam as he's coming around turn 2. Around the Curva Grande. And I think it's P6 he qualified last week, which I think he was a little bit disappointed by. But he had good race pace. Got himself up the order quite early on. And stuck with the front runners. And it was Thelemy's strategy call. We've lost, let me just re-invite DPH. Jeez, there he is. He's dropped out. Adam as he's just coming round. to the Parabolica, where we saw with Briddy. Can lose plenty of time. He's pushing hard. Can he improve? He improves on his time, but not his position. 20 flat, just behind Marty. Let's see what Callum's doing. Come around the Parabolica for his second flying lap. Can he improve and get into the 118s? He does. 18.8. First drive to do so. I'll be surprised if he's the only one. So check on Portuguese coming around turn 4 and 5. There's a gaggle of cars behind him. His teammate Podolski, unfortunately unavailable this week. Game says he set the fastest second sector. Very strong driver, navigated Muscari well. And we'll see how he gets on, and then I'll send another invite for DP8. He didn't come back in yet. As he crosses the line, just P2 for now with a 19 flat, just over a tenth behind Callum. See how Amadi's doing, almost 2 tenths up, which will get him up to provisional P3 at the moment. And he's pulled out of the lap. He's messed up and lost time. See how his teammate is doing his first run on soft tyres. It's a bit quite slow this one, so I think he's made a mistake somewhere. Straight into the pits. Let's go again, see if we can invite him. I'll just try and get FDH back in. Having a bit of connection issues. The caps lock is invalidated. He's not going to improve. I'll have a check on Terry's. Let's see how he gets on. See if he can get himself another half a second or so. He's one of a good handful of drivers which have been it's due a podium, I can say. There's always opportunities. He's a very consistent driver, and looks like he's not taking that corner, gone wide. He's invalidated, so pushing the limits. See how Chess Bowl can do with 4 minutes left of qualifying. His teammate Dan Morris, currently P16, is bit of a struggle this week as he's on a pad. His wheel broke today, so I think he'll try and get used to it and see how much fun he finds it. Coming around the second Lesmer now. Just keeps it within the white lines. You don't want to go too wide. Can be a tricky track. It's got minimal runoff areas. As one of its defining features, 2 tenths up, which will get him up to P11. Yeah, drivers need to exercise a lot of caution and avoid making errors. Otherwise you're going to end up in the gravel track or into a barrier, which are very close to the track. So it goes really wide. It's a wide line round to Parabolica. Crosses a line and improves by 10th, but not a position. So everyone will be coming out for their final run. Bellamy's still yet to set a time. I've got really bad heartburn. Sorry, guys. Can't stop coughing. So another bite for DPH. It'll be interesting to see who holds their nerve. We've got Marty going first for his final run. And everybody, and most people are coming out now. One or two still in the pits. DPH reported in there. Unfortunately, we have lost DPH. You can't get in. The game's messing about with a server error. Oh, it's a big shame. I was looking forward to seeing him race. I hope he stays and watches the stream, and we can get it sorted. Love to see him back on. Slightly up in his time. He's not going to improve that much. Can he find a lot more time in these last 4 corners? There's a McLaren weaving in front of him, and that McLaren, ooh, naughty McLaren. Terry's is not going to be happy with that. And Marty dives straight in the pit, and I think that potentially will be, as caps lock goes flying off, is invalidated. He's not going to improve. What we've got next? In the line. Everyone's starting a lap. Trying to find someone. The chest ball is staying in. He's not going to improve on his position. And the same for Marty's gone in. Let's have a look then and see who we've got. It is Blobby. Is he going to improve? The game wouldn't show us because it's mental. As he comes around the parabolica, a little bit shaky, crosses the line, and does improve on time about position. Callum is slightly down on his time. Can he find any more in the final corner? He does slightly with 18.82. As Terry's goes in and won't improve in his time. And Sygate as well. As Adamako's P7, he's not going to finish any higher than that. Briddy goes up to P8, Geezer, and Noodles, the RBs, in 10 and 11. Who's next? Who's next? Portuguese. P2, 18.9, just behind Callum. And that is everybody. Amadi goes P3. Thellamy does not set a time. He's invalidated again. And I think he'll be absolutely kicking himself. And that is the order. And there's 1 or 2 people out of position here. Dan found plenty more time. Just getting used to being on pad. But he found an extra 6 or odd seconds, so he's not too far off the pace. And I'm sure once he gets a few laps in, he'll be fine. Yeah, Dan says he's 4.3 seconds off. But yeah, it's better than 7. And this is your grid order. Callum takes pole with an 18.8, just ahead of Portuguese, joining on the front row. Amadi and Terry's on row 2, Katamise and Marty. Adamako P7, Brady P8, Capstock 9, and Noodles round off the top 10. Keezer 11, Sygate 12, Chessbowl 13, FDPH 14th, but he has disconnected, unfortunately. Blobby 15, Dan 16, and Thelemy trying to do a last to first race, and it'll be quite interesting. So this is it now. It's the strategy calls. Drivers will be sorting out their tyres, who's going to go on what first. It is 23.7 seconds pit lane loss, and they're going to be going in at least twice. There's about 50% chance of a safety car. It'll be interesting to see what people's calls are. It's a rundown. Pole down to turn 1, braking point 472 metres. And we don't want any carnage. Drivers are very experienced, but it is tight, and we've seen it plenty of times in many leagues. In real life F1, where they try and go through their 4 wide, and it's impossible. And the game does punish you for making a big avoidment. So those that try and cut the corner, just make sure you get back on track, as close to the track as possible. Otherwise you will get a penalty. And we will have a formation lap. So Monza is located just outside of Milan. Callum will lead us around the track. 5.793 kilometres clockwise circuit. 11 corners, 7 to the right, 4 to the left. With the 2 DRS zones, 1 down the start, finish straight, and 1 after the Lesmos. Well, and as I mentioned earlier, we will see plenty of overtaking. This is a big track for slipstreaming, where drivers have to master the art of the slipstream for attacking and defending. Their setups will be designed for low downforce to maximise the straight line speeds. We will be on the throttle 80% of the lap, so I'd be interested to see the calls that they've got to make. The big one is the tyres, and let's have a look what people go on. A mixture of softs to mediums, just Dan going on the hards. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes. Trying to go long first stint, maybe hold out for a safety car. But no idea how this is going to go. And what I've got to do with this is tick off everyone's tyres, and so they're just coming down up to the final corner. Bear with me 1 second. And finally, Chespel on the mediums. They're all lined up. The green flag is out, and we'll get under racing. 1 or 2 getting disqualified for missing their pit box, which will hamper their start. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. It's lights out, and away we go. It looks like a good start for Callum. Thelemy making 2 places early doors. And let's hope that they all make it through. This first couple of corners, I always wince. Somebody's gone off track. But no one looks like they've gone through any major damage. 1 or 2 being forced off into the gravel. It's Dan, Thelemy and Sygate by the looks of it. We don't know who caused that. We'll probably see in the steward's room if it was an issue. Might be Dan, he's struggling on the pad, so he probably struggled to brake. Your third top 7 are all is still in position. Noodles have made 2 places. We've lost the driver. Yellow flag, I think it was Dan just going off track a bit. The front 3 have pulled away slightly. Marty making a move on Katamise. Down to the Ascari. Great overtake from here, and DRS will be activated the next lap. And that, I think that shows that Katamise doesn't have 0-0 wings like he's known to have. As Thelemy gets past FDH's car, which will be ghosted because he's disconnected. End of the first lap, Callum remains ahead, but how long will that be? Katamise is in the pit. Has he got damage, or is he making an early call to get off the tyres? As Marty gets past Terry, Adam gets past Noodles. Doesn't have damage, he's making an early call to get off those tyres while everyone's battling. So it actually might be a smart call this from Katamise. Might be a smart call unless the safety car comes out. But interesting. So we've still got a train all the way down to P12. A little bit shaky. Stargates gets past FDH's car. And we'll see Katamise should be able to pump in some good laps with that clean air. Be interested to see his strategy call. See how that plays out as Portuguese gets himself up to the lead of the race. Down the DRS, down to the Ascari. And I don't think it'll be the last time we see this change of hands happen. Everyone else has followed through, and you can see that train. Adam taking a look at Terry's just before the Parabolica. And who will be close enough to make that move. Marty showing some fantastic pace. Adam managed to get past Terry's. Slots in just ahead, and Callum retakes that position, like I did say. D having a look on the inside of Portuguese. Brakes late. And I think he'll hold his hands up to that one. Ends up losing a couple of positions. Battling with Adam. They're inside each other. Gonna have to slot back out a bit. But, no damage loss there for Callum and Portuguese. Hopefully he's got no damage. Chessbowl overtaking Briddy around the curve of Grande. Like I said in Swally, you get to see some nice overtakes there, and it's always a good feeling when you do it round a curve. Briddy down to P10. The Geezer for company. Globby Butler's dropped back a little bit now from that pack. Has a little bit of free air himself. And getting closed down by Thelemy, who want to get into that DRS range as quick as possible. Briddy retaking Chessbowl. Has Chessbowl gone off? Chessbowl has gone off on the Ascari, and a safety car is out. And will we see everyone, especially the ones on soft, dive into the pits? So there's a 50% chance, and it's a shame. It's easy to lose it when you're on the curbs. Everybody looks like they're coming in. This will be bad for Amadou. He's going to get held up by his teammate. Geezer, no! No! Italian hand gesture. And goes on the mediums then. Dan's the only one that stayed out on those hards. And will lead us off for the race. Here we go, interesting. A lot of people going on to the hards, doing a longer middle stint. And the safety car does help with your decision. Amadou is down to P8 now, being held up. So after the collision and losing a couple of places, out braking himself and locking up, he also loses out in the pit stop. And Dan leads us rounds on the, and I wouldn't even say the rolled hard, but he is out of sync a bit. I'll tell you who this does impact though. Katamise, that early safety car has messed up his decision for to pit early. I think he may regret that. We'll regret that. You'll be fine, Dan. You'll be fine. I think for this race, just don't maybe just don't impact other people's races too much. If you think that you're going to be causing incident, just maybe stay out of the way a little bit. But yeah, good for everyone on the softs that pit stop. It should be. Yeah, you're going to be on. We're going around another lap under the safety car as we're waiting for the last few cars to catch up. So the question is, does anyone want to go on the pit stop now while the safety car is out and get another one out of the way? Especially the ones on mediums that have got to do hards and maybe do hards right to the end. People like Callan and Speedy that actually is doing a wise thing and going in and getting rid of his 10-second penalty and getting rid of his tyres as well. So will he go back on to mediums or will he use his softs and then have free rein? We shall see. Keys has gone out back onto mediums, so he does have to go onto softs, which will be interesting. A long stint on these mediums. What Katamis actually has done is he pit as well, and he's used all three tyres. So I missed that. He's done a very wise thing. Briggy on hard. Yeah, there's a little bit of admin when you do this, but it is fun. Dan's the only one that's pit once. Katamis has pit all three times, and Chesbowl, as I said, is out. Most people choosing to do the hards on this stint. Will the safety car be in? It normally pops up now and tells us. Or is it going to go round again while we wait for Keys Giza, who served his penalty? All the while, will help his middle stint on the mediums. Will also help Katamis prolong his tyres. So not all's lost, like I said, for Katamis. And we'll have to do another lap round behind the Aston, but it has spiced things up, made people think about their strategy a little bit more. We'll just have a quick slurp of my coffee. I think this is going to get very, very tasty. Dan is absolutely crapping himself at the front on that pad, and Keys is going in again, and I think he's going to be going on too. He still has to use the softs, so I reckon he's probably going to go back onto hards. So it's going to be quite... I think he should have gone on the softs on that last pit. I honestly do. I think he should have just done a big stint out of that and then just gone back on the hards. I think he's wasted a pit stop there. And this is what this sort of format does. It messes with your head and makes you overthink sometimes. So Dan leads away. Callum right behind him. Portuguese Marty now up to a net P3. Adam right behind him, currently in P5. He'll be happy with his current position. Terry P6. Noodles up P7. Amadi down in P8. He'll be looking to try and fight back. Get himself back on the podium to follow the form from last week. Brady P9. And safety car is in. Caps up P10. Blobby up to P11. Telling me P12 for now. I'm sure he's going to look very racy. Stargate P13, Castanese, and then Keys Giza from the rear. So let's see how long Dan holds it. I think he's going to hold up as long as possible to the line. You can't overtake until the timeline. And we've got to wait for the safety car to go in as well. Dan's going with a regular pace, which is not going to give much time for the safety car to go away, and it's going to be a late call. And I think it's another twitchy bum time down to the start finish. As the safety car goes in, and Dan's gone. He's gone already. Callum stayed with him, and the slipstream is powerful here. I think he's going to get done at turn 1 right at the start, as Adam has a look on the inside of Marty. Katames manages to get himself up a place. A little bit of braking as Portuguese have to ride the curb a bit. Very, very good race from everyone, very cautious. I love to see it. Dan's lost a few places. His tyres are only a couple of laps older, but I think just his pad use is a little bit shaky. Does Terry get past Dan as well on the inside of turn 4. Noodles and Amadee battling hard as Amadee gets himself up to P7 with a great exit out of turn 5. DRS is not active until the next lap after the safety car. There's no one, I think, got any damage, which is good. Amadee and Dan side by side, and Amadee going ahead at Iscari with a late overtake move. Blobby gets christened his lights out league racing debut with a track limits warning, and he does it on the Iscari. Where else? Amadee up 2 places already, again locking up round the Parabolica. He's pushing hard, but he's a very experienced driver. See if the change of hands happens. Marty's still in P3. Adam right behind him. There's a little gap to Terry's. No one managed to make a move just yet. All single file. As we say that, Sygate gets past Katames. Great overtake down into turn 1. Katames going to look to fight back though. Around the Curva Grande. Has a look on the outside. Pushing his RS down. Dan is now to come to Noodles as well. As the side by side going into turn 4. And Sygate sees him coming. And Sygate's slow exit off the corner caught Blobby off guard. With Keezer looking with intent, trying to get past. DRS will be open. And while watching that, Dan got overtaken by Noodles. As Blobby now gets past Sygate with the use of the DRS. Just before Iscari. Sygate's got a good exit. Where's Sygate gone? He's taken a wider line to make the overtake back on Blobby. Great overtake. You can see that early days he had a better exit off Iscari, and he's utilised that, but he will be under threat from DRS, and so will Callum. The Portuguese is broken from Marty, who's going to be under threat from Adamaku, who's going to look to go on the inside of turn 1. Amadee gets past Terry's. Terry's tried to take a look back, do a bit of a switch back. Very well defended from Marty. And from Terry's tried to fight back but couldn't get there. Dan's lost a couple of places on the exit. Turn 2. And he's dropping back. But he knows, I think he knows he's struggling a bit on the pad. And just won't want to hamper anyone's race. Ugh, that smoggy smoke. It's like Victorian London.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Jeremy looking racy. Taking a look at the inside of his teammate. Will his teammate hold him up or let him pass? Both will try and look to get past Caps Lock in the Williams. Will try and defend the inside line. Riddy goes on the outside. And good overtake from him. Caps Lock gets back on the racing line from a slower direction. And may put him under threat from Thelemy. He does look on the inside of the Parabolica. Brave move. Ooh, Caps Lock had to go a little bit wide. He was left in the space, but I think he tried to be quite respectful to Thelemy as well. And went a little bit wide himself, carrying that pace through. Will we see a change of hands? Not quite yet. Portuguese is right on the back. As Thelemy does go past his teammate. It goes deep, and that's caused a bit of a bottleneck for his teammate, who's lost position to Caps Lock coming out of turn 2. And himself, Caps Lock, look on the outside of the Parabolic, the Curva Grande, sorry. Just ahead of Brady. And great driving from all them. 3 drivers. Dan Morris looking for intent, trying to fight back from position. All started from Thelemy going deep, making the overtake on his teammate. but has stayed ahead and is up to P8 now. So we've got a train here with Marty, 1.8 seconds, so not getting dropped from the front two, but has a train all the way down to Noodles. As Capslock retakes position from Thelemy just before the Ascari. Making use of that DRS once again. We've got plenty of action going on. With only 10 laps gone, 17 to go. And it'd be interesting to see how these strategies unfold. As Thelemy gets past Capslock. And Adam finally gets past Marty. Armady looking as well to get past his teammate. It's side by side. Armady's just on the outside. We should have better traction off the corner, but Marty's just stayed ahead. Noodles getting past Terry's as well. These two love battling as Armady does get past his teammate and gets himself up to P4 around the curve of Grande. And Terry's fighting back with Noodles. Thelemy and Capslock out again, but Dan has taken both of them and got himself up to P8. I think he's found his rhythm now on the pad and making use of that DRS. Riddy's dropped down a couple of places. I think he's had a bit of an issue somewhere because he's lost out to Catamese as well and is under threat from Keyser and Sygate. Noodles getting past Terry's again. Use of the DRS. Back up to P6, great drive for Noodles. Now 2.3 seconds away from the top two, and they're back again down to the Parabolica. Noodles slots in behind. We've got a yellow flag, and it's Blobby, and it's another safety car. Blobby's lost it at the Ascari chicane, the same as Chessbowl, and one or two I think have missed the pit stop, and Amadi goes in. Noodles is in. Dan's in, Thellemy's in. D goes on to those mediums. Sygate's in. Sygate's gone on to mediums as well, and Dan needed that. He was out of sync with pit stops, so he just has to do one more. Will the front runners go into the pits? He may have lost a bit of time and might get jumped here. I think especially for Callum and Terry's, now's probably the best time to jump onto those hard tyres. They should go to the end. The ones on the hards have got to jump onto the soft, so it'll be too long. They're going to have to stay out. So this may bode well, and Callum does go in. Portuguese goes through. Adam goes through. Marty's decided to pit. Terry's has gone through, like I said. Capslock and Catamese both go in. Catamese, of course, has done all his pit stops. And Callum down to P7 now. Onto those hards. Marty's onto the mediums. So he's still got to stop for those softs. Terry's has jumped onto the hards. So has done all of his mandatory pit stops. And Sygate onto some fresh mediums as well. And he's done all of his pit stops. So Amadi didn't really he's made a couple of positions. Or has he? He's on a better tyre, but depends what his tyre wear is going to be like near the end of the race. It'll be interesting to see. All the hard runners above, apart from Callum, so Callum looks like he's in a good place. Everyone else still has to pit for those softs, and I think potentially Keyser will be kicking himself not pitting on those softs earlier on. because he could have pit now, gone into those hards and be in a decent position, potentially even for a podium. And what this does mean is that Portuguese will be leading the way under the safety car. We're doing another lap. At least we'll see anyone else jump in the pits. 14 laps. I think we're set. So Portuguese P1, Adam P2. Both the Williams drivers, P3 and P4. And if anyone, Katamis, he's still got to do another 13 laps on these tyres, but he's in a good position having pit all 3. So technically he has net lead of the race. Brady P5, we've got to go for those soft tyres. Giza P6 again, I mentioned soft tyres. Callum has done all his pit stops. Armadi the same, Marty the same, Terry's the same. So Terry's is in a really good position. It depends how the tyre wear will happen for how bad the tyre wear is going to be. Needles down in P11. Again, still got to go on those soft tyres. I guess he decided to pit last time and do another set of mediums. I can't remember. To and fro. I've picked them up anyway. The drivers know what tyres they've got to use. I think everyone's got to use the soft tyres now. Everyone has used the hards, and everyone has used the mediums. The safety car will be in. Portuguese will lead the way, and it's going to be a late call from him and Adam. Capstock and Brady all on the same strategy. Katamis is the only one out of sync, out of that front bunch. And again, it's going to be squeezy bum time down to turn 1. When will Portuguese go? Safety car is just going into the pit lane now. You can't overtake until the tide line. I think Portuguese is going to go as late as possible. Adam's going to be waiting for intent, with intent, as Portuguese has gone already. Katamis had to let Capstock back through. He overtook him too soon, but retakes him again. Goes up to P3. He's on the inside of turn 1. We've seen a lot of smoke. Callum having a bit of a drift along turn 1, and he's lost a couple of places. So a yellow flag, and he's dropped right to the back now. Adam getting himself a penalty, which will have a bit of say in the into the podium positions. Everyone looks like they are getting away well. It's just Callum, I think. Whether it's from his own doing or got squeezed, end up riding the curb of turn 1. Having a quick look on Kiza. I think he's going to be trying to fight back as much as possible. As Noodles and Terry's are at it again. Oh, bit of a squeeze. Bit of a squeeze there. As Terry's went slow through Scari, and Thelemy had to brake hard. Capstock has lost a couple of positions to both the Astons on the first start, their first lap after the safety car restart. But almost running to the back of Marty, and there's your DRS enabled. Portuguese a bit of a gap ahead of Adam now. To me, Capstock side by side with Brady on the inside of turn 1, left plenty of room. Capstock stays ahead. Noodles will try and have a better launch off turn 2 as they're going 3 wide round the curve of Grande. Brady managed to get past Capstock, and Capstock's lost 2 places. And that launch off turn 2 is really important. Look at that terrible smoke. Callum's managed to get past Kiza. Oh, a little bit of loss of traction. He's pushing for all his might. Coming out of turn 5 and nearly lost it. Sygate takes a quick look on Dan. Looking very race again, had lost a bit of loss of traction from him coming out the second Lesmo. DRS is open for all as Noodles managed to get past Briddy and up to P6 for him. Coming out the Ascari. And it's a better launch there from Thelemy. Going looking, having a look in caps lock. Sygate has managed to get past Dan. He's lost a couple of positions coming out the Ascari. Thelemy taking a look inside the parabolic. It's not quite yet. Gonna have to wait for the time. I'm a G. Gina G. I'm a D. Getting himself up to P3. We're overtaking Catamese. I don't think he's got the pace to stick with him. Callum now getting past Sygate. He's got his foot to the floor. Sygate having a look on the inside of turn 1. And what's happened to Thelemy? He's lost a couple of positions coming out of turn 2. Oh, bit of a bump with Terry's there. And causing a couple of cars to go off. Callum's gone off himself and he looks like he's got wing damage. He's going to have to go in. And it'll be interesting to see, I'm sure we're going to see one or two stewards reports from there. Terry's riding the curve, couldn't control his car and almost going in the side of Briddy. I think we're seeing one or two frustrations here. And these guys need to calm. Still 10 laps to go as Marty gets himself up to P4 behind his teammate. He's currently in for a shout for a podium. He's down P5 and it'll be interesting to hear how his tyres go. Will he go onto a pit stop? Noodles now 3 seconds behind with the cars, gaggle of cars behind him. All the way down to Dan. Will the anyone be brave to make a move? Portuguese showing some good pace down the start finish straight. No one's close enough to make that overtake. He's sticking with that front part of the front 5. And you've got Noodles, catch block for Thelemy. Thelemy get himself up to P8 from back of the grid. And then Dan's all over the back of Sygate. Can he make a move? As Briddy and Terry's looking on the inside of turn 3. Don't think he's close enough to make a move. He's going to try. But Briddy slots in ahead. Before turn 4. Rises over a bit too much and Keys is going to look on the inside of the first Lesmo. Oh, pulls out of it and very wise to do so. It's not the best place to make an overtake on a very fast sweeping corner and thinks better of it next time. Great awareness from him. Callum has pit and jumped onto some mediums, which should see him to the end. He'll be hoping for a safety car. And in that fresh air, he'll be able to pump in some decent laps. He's still in the lead of the race. Amadi looking potentially on a move on Adam. With Amadi, doesn't really need to force it. He's done all his mandatory pit stops and knows that the cars ahead still have to pit. As Terry's and Briddy at it again, and Terry's gets himself up to P11 with the use of the DRS. Will Keezer look to get a better launch off the corner? He does slightly. Is he close enough to make a move on Briddy? I don't think so. I think he's just going to follow him round. And there's the R. Amadi. And I'll tell you what. I was speaking to Marty before this race, and he said that he's in a bit of a slump, a bit of lack of confidence. So he's had a couple of bad races, but he's doing so well, so well. And he is one that still needs to pit for softs, but he's in for a shout for a decent position. As Amadi gets past Adam down to the Parabolica and gets himself up to P2, and I think he'll be taking a look now at Portuguese as Briddy gets past Terry's once again. And Amadi's got so better launch off the corner and will make an easy move, gets himself up to P1. Adam will look to try and get past Portuguese. Marty's taking a look as well. Actually, just watching with intent. He doesn't really need. He knows he's going to shout for a podium here because he doesn't need to pit. Terry's getting past Brady again. These two, like a yo-yo. As Sidegate getting better launch off turn 2, making a move on Bellamy, getting himself up to P8. Great overtake around the curve, Grandy for him. And Bellamy's lost connection. I'll just send him a quick invite. Where is he? Where is he? There we go. That won't help his drive at all. There's Dan. Has lost a few seconds while being disconnected. I'm sure he'll be back in the race soon. Don't think he'll be too happy with that. And I think it's the same thing that FPH had. D has been retaken. I think these two will be to and fro-in. Look at the speed that Adam and Marty have got as well. Tight going into turn 1. Adam and Marty side by side. But Adam still stays in P3. I think Katamise is in for potentially a P2 maybe, and Brady gets himself a track limits. Dan goes into the softs now, makes that call. Bellamy goes in and goes on some mediums. I think just making a new call for him, and Dan does his mandatory stop and pump those laps out, and we're going to have to see 1 or 2 now jump in the pits very soon. This Portuguese looking to fight back with D, but just not close enough yet. He's pushing him around the Ascari. Portuguese Adam and Marty all still need to pit for softs, and there's no right time to do it now. He chose to stay out on the second safety car as Caps Lock gets past. And as I speak, Adam and Marty both go into the pits now and jump on those softs. Armady getting taken again by Portuguese. Who else is in? Caps Lock is in. Brady's gone in as well. And he's going to have to go on those soft tyres. Dan Morris has already gone in. Is he close enough to take the position? He is coming down now, so we'll make the overtake. He's done the undercut. So they've made the call and they're down to P8 and P9. But he still needs to pit. There'll be unspecified keys needs to pit, and Portuguese needs to pit. So it'll be interesting to call. So currently, and Noodles needs to pit as well. So currently, by the looks of it, Sidegate is in a net P3, which I think he'll be absolutely chuffed with. The strategy call has worked out for him, and it just depends how. They've got 5 laps on these fresh softs to pump some times in. As Portuguese has now come in, and he's going to be undercut from Adam and Marty. As Sidegate goes through and takes net P3. Terry's net P4. And McLaren boys looking so strong. Noodles and Keys are all going in and making their final stops. And we'll come out behind Adam and Marty, and potentially Caps Lock as well, and Dan. And it's thrown complete spanner in the works here. I think it was the wrong decision for them to stay out. I really do. I think they should have done at least pit and gone on to softs then, and then changed to hards or something. Oh, wow, 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 wow. So Amadi leads the race with 4 laps to go. Katami's P2, 3 seconds behind. A further 9 seconds behind is Cygate. Terry's P4. Portuguese P5 on those fresh softs. He's got to catch up 7 seconds in 4 laps. Or 9 seconds even if he wants to get onto the podium. It's going to be twitchy bum time for the McLaren boys. Adam Maka right behind Portuguese, so with those two battling, they might actually want to work together if they want to get towards the podium. Marty now P7. Great race from him, even though it's not as high as he was before. Adam to get in fastest lap currently with a 21.2. Pushing to the rafters. Caps lock P8, he'll be happy with that. With Noodles right on his gearbox, he's looking to make the overtake down to turn 1. Is he close enough to make the move? He's not. But Brady is, and gets himself up to P10. Just ahead of Dan, he's running P11. He'll be happy with that. Bellamy currently P12. Just hasn't worked out for him this week. And the Alpine boys struggling at this track. I always have tracks like this where they just don't work out for me. Most recently, Japan and Imola. I've never got so many penalties in my life. Keys are P13. He's running his own race now. Again, probably made the wrong strategy call on the second safety car. And then Callum, 1 or 2 incidents with him. Stelamy does get past Dan, or getting past Dan. Makes that move stick. Getting himself up to P11 behind his teammate. Portuguese, 2 laps to go. Has dropped Adam. And he's got his foot to the floor and taken the fastest lap with a 20.3. Crazy. And his 3.5 seconds, he's got to make that up in. It's 3 laps, this is. I think he's going to do it. And I'm praying for one of these boys to be on the podium. As Noodles gets up to P8 past Caps Lock. Down to turn 1. I think those two will be toing and froing now to the end of the race. 3.4 seconds. Come on, McLaren boys, you can do it. I think if I was Cygate, I'd be torn between slowing down slightly to get Terry's within DRS to use, or I hope that Terry's acts as a bit of a blocker for him. Thelemy gets past his teammate up to P10. I think Brady might have let him pass. He's in the shout. Oh no, Terry's, no! Oh, Terry's. Oh, he's pushing like crazy as well, and he's just pushed a little bit hard. He's catching Cygate slightly, and his Cygate's tyre's wearing slightly. Portuguese 2.2 seconds now with 2 laps to go. He's not advancing as quickly, but I think he's going to potentially get up to Terry's, who is catching Cygate. Cygate's tyres are wearing. I'm praying for Cygate. He can get on this podium. But Portuguese all want to try and keep his run going. He got P3 last week. And he's a very strong driver. And will be in for a shout. Challenging for the Drivers' Championship. We're on the penultimate lap. And then unless Amadil Academies do anything on their own accord, they will be P1 and P2. Portuguese is hunting them down. 1.9 seconds. And the McLaren boys using the DRS. As what are they going to do? They've got 1 lap to go. It's going to be tight. Portuguese 1.5 seconds. Ooh, it looks like he's going a little bit wide then. He's gained so much time. 3/10 just around the parabolica itself. Terry's will take Cygate and get himself up to P3. Or will he? No, he's going to, I think, is he going to play the T game and try and hold up Portuguese? Is he going to play that team game? Come on, Sygate, you can do it. Armady just coming around the second Lesmo. We're on the final lap. And it's going to be an absolutely fantastic finish. Portuguese is in DRS range now of the McLaren boys. Sygate's going to want to be having Terry's hold him up. Oh, a little bit of loss of traction from Portuguese, and that will not help his launch off the second Lesmo. A little bit of oversteer. As Armady comes round the parabolica and will come home. He's taking a little bit easy around the last. As Portuguese does get past Terry's, Armady comes home with the race win. Sygate is bravely defending for his life. It's going to go to the wire. Katamis comes home P2. And Portuguese takes him on the final corner to get P3. Sygate takes P4. He'll be crying his eyes out. Oh, so close, but well done to him. Terry's comes home P5. Adamako P6. Martin Style P7. Noodles will come home P8. Capstock defending from Thelemy, who comes P9. Thelemy comes home P10. Brady P11. Dan Morris will come home P12. He's made it home on the pad. Well done to him, but gets jumped by Keys Geezer P12. Callum will come home P14. Again, what could have been for him. I'm sure we'll hear in the chat what's happened. What a race that was. Strategy plays its part, and it's made for an exciting race. And Callum comes home for P14. Woo! What a race that was. Absolutely brilliant. And couldn't keep my eyes off that. What a crescendo. And there's your three podium sitters. Portuguese on the top step, shaking that sweaty hand. So here are your podium sitters. Armady coming home on P1. Fantastic race. Katamis P2. Great drive from him. Great strategy call. And but early pit stop. Almost come a cropper, but gets himself a P2. Portuguese right to the line, P3. Sygate P4. Super chuff from the McLaren boys. The hard work paid off, and it doesn't always happen with them P4 and P5. Adam P6. Great consistent drive from him. Just wasn't his race this week. Marty P7. Very happy with that as well, with his compatriot behind him P8. Capstock P9. And Thelemy coming top 10 after starting P17. Brady P11. Keys at 212. Dan Morris P13. And Callum round off the finishers with a hot fastest lap of a 20.3 as well. A little consolation for him, but fantastic race from everybody. Wow, wow, wow. It isn't the final special race of the season. We do have 3 more coming up. Next week, of course, back to the normal regime. And it will be at Mexico. My name is Alex. This has been Lights Out League Racing. Thank you for joining me. Peace out.